Welcome back, Terrifics, to your live continuing coverage of E3 here at the Los Angeles Convention Center in Los Angeles, California. You're watching BeTerrific. I'm Michael Artsis. You are the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special at BeTerrific TV on all social media. We have not traveled back in time to 1942, although it looks like it. We're not in a bunker or a tent or planning facility for World War II, but close. This is Ilya. This is the game Raid. We talked about it earlier in the day. We met some of the actors who are running around E3 representing the game. Ilya is the designer-developer of Raid, and I am so excited. The game dropped today. From what I've seen, you're going to give us a full tour. The full footage is unbelievable.
Thank you.
The gaming is unbelievable. I've heard that this is a lot different than most FPS games, first-person shooters. Tell me what makes this different and why it, quote-unquote, reinvents the first-person shooter.
Well, to start with, you play with your friends, and we sort of force you into work together a lot. So it's a class-based 4-player co-op multiplayer game. And your class is nothing without the other classes. So it's, just like in war, you have your buddies and you have to stick together as a group. And if you're not a group, you're not going to survive.
I like that. I like team building. I like teamwork. I think it's also interesting that World War II games are becoming more and more popular and more prevalent.
Definitely, yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about time somebody makes a World War II game.
Yeah.
I remember, 10 years ago when I started working in the industry, it was a wave of, World War II, blah, 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 blah. I never felt that. It's one of my favorite things.
Both my grandfathers were in World War II. One was in the infantry in the Army. The other was in the U.S. Army Air Corps, which is now the Air Force, flying in planes. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that was the greatest generation, right? And those were the toughest men, the men among men, and the women too stayed home, took care of the families, and also Rosie the Riveter, right? Put the planes together.
It is the time, I think, in our history that defines our history the most.
Yeah,
everybody remembers it. It's a very big event.
And the thing that's interesting is I think we probably watched the most film footage of World War II of any war. We were probably the most connected to World War II of any war. And while we have more coverage of any war now, we are also more disconnected because a lot of the wars are being fought by drones and by all sorts of other technology that allows us to disconnect, and obviously we also lead busy lives where we should be paying attention. We don't pay attention enough.
Yeah, I fully agree. Yeah, I think it's a very important time in human history, and I don't see any downsides of having people see it again or relive it, or in our case, relive it is a pretty nice word. I mean, our main characters are built off of real people.
Really?
So our writer, who is amazing. His name is Tid. He's been around talking to a lot of people, not like, famous World War II people, but more like somebody's grandfather, somebody's uncle, somebody's this.
So he researched
he researched a lot. And then we based the characters on these people. So they feel very real to us, and I hope we convey that in the game, that they come off as real people.
Well, from what I've seen, it's very realistic. I hear it's super realistic, and I look forward to checking out a little here. Yeah. How long did it take to put this game together?
So we're in a little shorter than a year in production at the moment on this.
And how you designed it and helped design and develop it. Tell me about that process.
It is something almost all of our team always wanted to do. It's just really fortunate that we got the chance, that we formed this studio in Croatia. We found these amazing developers that you see here all around us. We started Lion Game Lion, which is a fairly new studio. This is our first game. But it just felt so right, like World War II, fuck yeah, 4-player co-op, let's make it. And we tried to differ ourselves also if you look at the footage, it's not all broken, it's not all black and white, so we tried to put it in an era where it's not all destroyed yet.
Can we look at some of it? Do we go here, do we go there, where do you want to?
Let's get to one of these.
Okay, so here's somebody playing the game.
Yeah, so these guys are just in the process of taking down one of the flag towers in Berlin. So what they're doing is pointing all the searchlights up to the big radar on the top. they have already, I think, yeah, this is a bit into the demo. They have destroyed the AA guns that defend the tower, and
So they're
they're
decent
waiting
players.
for. Sorry.
They're decent players already.
Yeah. So now they put the flare up. They're waiting for some parachutes, and then the Allied bombers will come in and start bombing the hell out. Yeah, it's already.
And they're
You
on
see
the
it blowing up.
they're on the side of the Allied or the Axis.
They are inside of the Ally here.
That's what I figured. And
So they are basically on a timeline now where they have to hurry the fuck up and jump before everything explodes, and they seem to be making it.
it seems very realistic, and I've heard from somebody who served for the United States of America, who's one of the actors who's running around representing the game, that this is very realistic to real warfare.
We had a veteran coming in, and he's like, "Yeah, this looks good," and asking us a bunch of questions of how we do everything and what our research is.
How do
and-
guys from Croatia make a game that is based on the Allied forces and make it realistic? Especially, I mean, you probably weren't born for another 30, 40 years after World War II.
As I said, our writer, mainly, he's a W2 fanatic.
Yeah.
He loves this stuff. He reads about it. He knows about every battle. A
You
lot
can
of
see
us,
this footage behind us is
a lot of
amazing
us
as
have
well.
also been, interested in this.
Yeah.
So, and it's not very hard to find research about this.
How did you get into coding and designing?
Well, I've been playing games since I was a little boy. Then about 10, 12 years ago, I did maps and mods for GTA 1 back in the day and Half-Life 1 also. And then it sort of just snowballed into get my first job and next job.
Big teams put together games. I mean, it's not a game like this. What did you have?
We're about 35 people
Wow.
at our studio, plus there's some outsourcing studios making graphics and helping out.
And will you move it to a console? Right now it's only PC. Will it
Right
go to
now it's
console?
only PC, and then we want to make sure this is as good as it can be, and then let's think about the consoles later so that we don't, do anything half-assed.
Very cool. Ilya, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
very excited. It's called Raid. It's available now, and I know all of you guys want it. We're live from E3 here at the Los Angeles Convention Center in Los Angeles, California. We'll be back with a whole lot more right after this. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.